All right, today we are diving into something huge. We're talking about where two massive worlds collide, our planet's urgent need for climate action and the crazy disruptive power of new technology. We're going to explore a really radical idea for how we can reinvent the fight against climate change. And really, it all comes down to this one single question. I mean, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? Can a piece of code, something that only exists online, actually make a real, tangible difference in our physical world? That's the huge idea we're going to unpack right now.
But okay, before we can jump into all the futuristic tech, we've got to get the basics down. We need to build a solid foundation first. So let's start at square one. What in the world are we even talking about when we say carbon credits?
The easiest way to think about it is like this. A carbon credit is basically a permission slip for pollution, but it has a really cool twist. So 1 credit equals 1 ton of carbon dioxide. A company that pollutes can buy these credits to balance out their emissions. But, and here's the key part, a project that removes carbon, like planting a giant forest, they get to earn these credits and then sell them. The whole point is to make it profitable to clean up the air. A pretty clever idea, right? So in theory, this system sounds amazing. A market-based solution for a global crisis. What could go wrong? Well, in practice. This is where our story gets a little messy. The way the market works right now, the traditional market, is unfortunately full of some pretty serious hidden flaws. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. It shows the massive gap between the goal and the reality. On the left, you got the dream, right? A market that's totally transparent, so you can trust it. Verifiable, so you know it's legit. Liquid, meaning it's easy to buy and sell, and accessible to everybody. But the reality over on the right, well, it's pretty much the exact opposite. It's confusing. It's secretive, it's hard to trade in, and all of that opens the door to a huge risk of fraud. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of why it's so broken. First, the lack of transparency makes it almost impossible to see where a credit came from and who's owned it. And that leads to the market's biggest nightmare, double counting. That's where the same credit for the same 1 ton of CO2 reduction gets sold or claimed twice. Yep. On top of that, it's slow and difficult to trade, and the whole system is so complicated that it keeps smaller, really innovative projects locked out. It's just not working at the scale we need it to. Okay, so we've got a big problem with a system that's supposed to be helping save the planet. But this is where technology comes roaring back into the picture. What if we could build a whole new system from scratch, one that's actually designed for trust and transparency from the get-go? We'll say hello to the blockchain. Now, I know the word blockchain can sound super intimidating, but honestly, the core idea is really simple and incredibly powerful. This analogy here is perfect. Just think of it as a shared digital record book. Every time a transaction happens, a new entry gets added. But here's the magic trick. Once an entry is written down, it can never be erased or changed by anyone. It's permanent and it's public for everyone to see. So how does this digital record book fix our broken carbon market? Well, it's like a direct hit against every single one of those problems we just talked about. That secrecy and lack of transparency? Blockchain offers radical transparency by design. That huge risk of double counting? Its core feature is immutability, meaning once a credit is used, it's digitally canceled forever, no takebacks. And all those high barriers and slow trading? Programmable contracts can automate the whole thing, opening up the market to literally anyone, anywhere in the world. Okay, so that all sounds fantastic in theory. But what does this actually look like in practice? How do you take something from the real world, like a carbon credit, and turn it into a digital token on a blockchain? Let's break down the mechanics of the process, which is called tokenization. It's basically a 4-step journey. First up, and this part is absolutely non-negotiable, a trusted, independent group has to verify that the project is real and that it actually reduced the carbon it claims. Step 2, a unique digital token gets minted or created on the blockchain. Think of this token as a digital twin for that 1 ton of carbon. Third, all its information, where it came from, who checked it, gets locked into that public record book forever. And finally, that token can be traded, sold, or officially retired to offset emissions, with every single move tracked for everyone to see.
So we've gone from the problem to the proposed fix and how it works. Now for the really exciting part. What could this all mean for the future? If this technology really takes off, what kind of an impact could it have on our fight against climate change?
I mean, just look at this table. It's night and day, right? It really tells the whole story. We see this fundamental shift in every single category. Trust goes from relying on a bunch of slow, expensive middlemen to being literally built into the system's code.
Access goes from being exclusive and complicated to being global and open 24/7. And liquidity, how easy it is to trade, could go from taking days to settling in an instant. It's a potential upgrade across the board.
And this right here, this is the bottom line. This is the so what of it all. A market that people can trust and that works efficiently is a market that attracts money, a lot of money. By fixing these deep problems of trust and access, tokenization could potentially channel billions of dollars in climate finance directly to the projects that are doing the real work, planting forests, building solar farms, and creating new carbon capture tech. It connects the funding straight to the mission.
Of course, it's not a silver bullet, nothing ever is, and that brings us right back to where we started. We've seen the incredible potential for a system that's more transparent, more efficient, more fair. But we have to be real and ask the tough question. Is this the elegant key that will finally unlock the climate finance we so desperately need? Or does it risk just adding another confusing layer of technology to an already complicated field? That's the billion-dollar question, and the answer is going to shape the future of how we fund the fight for our planet.